So Doug, how come this has taken so long?
Perfection ain't easy. No. Look at Glenn. I think that what you know a little bit of the inside track is that when we decided to build Neo, we also decided to recommit ourselves to completely reimagine what it would be. In our past lives, we got lots of validation that we were onto something, right, and onto something really cool, and had some really interesting overtures from people wanting early exclusive use of that, early work. But so really, I mean, the first year we spent reimagining Neo. Next year we kind of spent building the first iteration of Neo and taking it out into the field. We woke up one day, and you heard me speak on the webinar that we just finished, that we woke up and people were calling us a consulting company. I know how to be a consultant.
God forbid.
We didn't, we didn't intend to be a consulting company. So I think really it was kind of a matter of focus, but also a matter of being willing to say no to that, quick revenue crack that we were getting from doing, everything on doing, whether it be factories or farm integration, right? So I think the big part is we probably lost our way a little bit, lost our focus a little bit, got really addicted to the quick fame and application revenue, and we weren't at a product level yet. So it was tough, it's like an addict getting off a drug, but committing ourselves to product and all of the support, the complementary components with it was absolutely critical, and we just made the decision to go for it. We were actually done last November, but in watching our user behavior, we found the onboarding to be a little bit too complex. So we spent more time on that on-ramp to Neo, and it's, again, as I've said, it's never done. Nothing with Neo's ever done, but we think it's now at a product level that we're super proud of.
The whole self-service dimension seems great, and it does seem worth the time from this morning's demo. It was really quite amazing.
Thank you. I mean, it's we put a lot of work into it. As anybody that gets into software, models and pricing will tell you, there is no model and there is no pricing guidance. What we looked hard at is the fact that we are committed to driving adoption, right? And we kind of use the term around here, hogs get fed and pigs get slaughtered. And everything we've done in the Neo world, as you know, painfully, is that we've got the long-term view. We built a platform, and we know it. So
let's talk about pricing, which we were really only scratching at the surface on in the webinar. I mean, obviously, it seems wildly conducive to inviting a community and developing a community and a following to align themselves and understand what the technology and tools can do. But the other side of the coin looks like a very, very disruptive pricing model.
Well, we've been privy to about as much research as we can find on the pricing. You I'm sure know more about it than we do, and have insight into it that you can't share. But we don't think IoT is the next ERP revolution, and we see the way companies are going at it with this big, heavy, back-end, high data, 2-3x integration requirement, 2-3 year integration mandate, and frankly, it's just not that hard. We've got pre-built blocks to just about every kind of protocol sensor that you would need, and our block repository is open. If there are going to be millions, billions, or trillions of things, we don't want to be a custom dev shop, so build it. We've created all documentation. APIs are web standard and phenomenal. So we want to enable others. We love the idea of being that, silent enabler, right? Kind of think of us as, if there's companies we aspire to, we love companies like Akamai,
Sure.
Who the hell is Akamai? But without it, the internet doesn't run, So,
Yes.
So maybe we're the wannabe Akamai, God rest Danny's soul, but, maybe that's kind of our take. And so our pricing is such that it is very fair to us. very fair to us, and at all levels other than free. but we want people to, this is a classic pull through, you know, bring your friends, bring your colleagues. You want to commercialize with it, go into an enterprise license with team. We're keeping the friction very low on those things. Now you want to get, you know, you want to get elbow to elbow with us and increase the amount of touch required. Yeah, then we get into pricing that's commensurate with those kinds of relationships.
Sure.
So,
sure.
But we think 3 great developers inside of an enterprise that have access to put Neo on 100 machines, in fact, can architect some really scalable, high ROI solutions. And we're going to charge you $1,000 a month for that.
It's amazing.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the power of Neo.
Yeah,
right?
I think so. Doug, let's talk about your cloud partners and all of this federation and where all this fits together from a enablement for the user standpoint, but also in the context of the developing market.
Yeah, I mean, look, as an old tech strategy guy, what I would tell everybody is just kind of beware of tight lock-in to any one vendor, right?
Sure.
We're hearing tales of major corporations that are trying to unwind, you know, cloud relationships now, and it's tough, right? So Neo will always federate. We are device, we are OS agnostic, right? That's our promise. We will always be. We're network agnostic, as you know.
Yep.
We provide tools like PubKeeper to make all those things easy. But specifically, we've spoken about, you know, everything in the cloud. We know from the field that just doesn't work. You know, Peter Levine has more, you know, credibility than we do, so people are listening. But that also doesn't mean you can take a $100,000 rack and move it in the middle of a field in Wilcox, Arizona, and call that your edge. It doesn't work. We've got a Dell 5000 that operates the autonomous vineyard in Wilcox, Arizona, but frankly, it's a supercomputer. We do about 5 million signals a second on a Dell 5000. So it's still way too much machine. So what I would say is that all the cloud providers are taking, you know, a somewhat different approach to this. You know, Amazon, you know, is purchasing and leaning on Greengrass. We like Greengrass. We think we compete really. You know, we're glad to go head-to-head with Greengrass. Any SI that wants to do a head-to-head technical analysis, us
Sure.
against Greengrass,
Yeah.
any day. But we're compatible with Greengrass, and we're complementary to Greengrass if it's already installed. You know, Microsoft's kind of doing its own spin. Google's doing its thing. We are compatible and adaptable and tightly integrated to IoT Core now.
Right.
They're doing some things in back office, device management, et cetera, that are very helpful for us. In the future, they will close their deal with Xively. We love the Xively deal. Xively and Google Cloud and IoT Core are doing things that, frankly, we can do but don't want to focus on. You know, we like the idea of doing what we do really, really, really well, and then using these complementary tools, whether it be IoT Core or Embed Cloud or Azure, doesn't matter to us.
Yep.
Again, we don't walk in and put a mandate into a user environment. Take a look at what you have, including your technical debt, and we'll work with it.
How about end-use markets as you look forward in your market development path? How do you see that map evolving, or in an optimal roadmap, how would you see that market map evolving?
Yeah, so we've had some interesting experiences on that. I mean, we didn't go very public, but we did some really amazing stuff in industrial really quick. We were doing edge-based predictive on finite machines throughout factories. We were doing very advanced automation, compatibility with MES systems. You know, so we had VCs holding term sheets over our heads telling us that you can have this term sheet if you agree to focus just on industrial. It's not what we want to do.
Right.
You know, I'm not a kid. I didn't redirect my career to go build a narrow platform, right? It wouldn't be a platform, it'd be a point solution. And that's tough. I'm conflicted at times on that, but the reality of what we would love to do is take on these verticals with partners, right? And people that are really good at industrial or really good at factory automation, whatever it may be, and we make them a little bit or really better. We enable them to open up their own business channel, and they take it to market. We have no desire to try to replicate, a giant software company with a gazillion salespeople out there trying to hit quotas. Right?
Understand.
Just, there's plenty of margin in our current pricing models and plenty of creativity for people to drive services and resell Neo, right? So,
How do you see the future of all these cloud guys and infrastructure players as they march their way to commodity?
oh, I don't know. I don't know if I agree that they'll march their way to, look at Nirvana for them is, so I kind of see they're kicking the crap out of the silicon people.
Right.
Okay. The silicon people are desirous of getting, more advancement on the chip. In the meantime, the cloud guys are driving, ML and AI through the cloud. We love the fact that we can't compete machine learning and AI scientists that any of these guys can. So things like TensorFlow or Watson, other tools, there is no tool, one tool fits all. Right. What Neo enables you to do is federate those tools as well and pass those data transform commands between these various tools. Super simple. We're gonna have a demo here in about another week we'll put out on our channel. It's amazing, right? And so, there's only so much you can do on a Raspberry Pi Zero with TensorFlow and Neo running on it. So then you pass that level of context on up into the distributed for more granular meta transformation, if you would. So I don't think I think what is perhaps contradictory to their model is that we do not promote everything to storage.
Right.
We don't offer a storage plan. We make it very easy for you to connect your own storage plan. Now we may offer some bridge to storage plans for people that are challenged doing that on their own, but we have no database bias. Right. So which would we pick?
Right.
Right. So and that also kind of ties back to the throttling. What we want you to move to storage is relevant context. How many times do you need to say the machine is still fine on a polling basis and put it into storage?
Right.
It's still fine.
Right. Keep the models in storage.
It's still fine.
It's still fine.
Right? We just think that's silly. Forget the references of 80, 90, whatever percent of that's going across the network is noise. It's noise.
Right.
It's noise. And you don't have to move it. Right? You don't have to move it for that analytic or automation layer to be applied.
This will have far-reaching implications on the notion of ownership of data in the future.
Yeah, and we think that, this isn't us being the privacy police, but as a citizen that shares liberally with the internet, I think we're entering an era where consumers are going to ask and take back, and reward those that enable them to configure their privacy.
Yep.
So let's take digital play. Do you really want your child, do you trust your ISV to protect your child's security playing with somebody digitally in India, China, Russia, etc.? Do you trust your ISV to that? Or would you like the ability to allow your child to play in a trusted manner, but you've put them in the safe zone, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You haven't revealed their identity, you haven't revealed their address, you haven't revealed the time of day, other things that, unfortunately, nefarious things. All of this obviously can lead to bad people doing bad things. We're living in that world right now, right?
Yes.
So first of all, we think that the Neo model enables this advent of consumer configurable privacy, and we think that's really important. Secondly, we think that the ability for companies that are global to reconfigure their country-based data and privacy standards to government mandates on the fly is super important. Super, super important. Because laws are going to change, and the laws are going to change very quickly. Neo just makes that super simple.
Simple. Right. That's great. We touched a little bit on app dev tools, and I'm not even sure that's the correct way to think about this, because in many respects, I think what you're doing and kind of what's implied in the longer-term IoT roadmap is that we're redefining, app into an entirely different context, state and context and so forth. But how do you see app development tools evolving in this story?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. So a little bit of context. I mean, when we were rolling out the internet and mobile telephony, right, and then we're transitioning from analog to digital, the biggest thing that people struggled with was that last mile, right? We think the last mile, in fact, is that user layer.
Yes.
I mean, we have, again, I've got lots of props to our Director of Innovation, James Holmes. His charter is to keep pushing us, right? So we have prototype binaries for the browser being the edge. We have prototype binaries for mobile being the edge. We have prototype binaries for microcontrollers. This gets pretty freaky.
Yeah.
Right? Sub $1 compute with the ability to apply full contextual logic. It's what we want. Right? Now, again, these are not supercomputers. They're going to be constrained by their capability, but you can still do an awful lot with them. So, from an app standpoint, the perfect example I'll have is I think the next thing you'll see out of us is we're going to be building a Neo mobile binary, sensor to new gateway.
Nice.
Okay. Now, we could do that and we could be proprietary and lock people up, or we could do what we're going to do, which is build developer frameworks for them to build apps. We're always going to lean towards that platform thinking. It's a longer term view, but also in the sphere of scalability, super long. I think we'll be demoing mobile as a gateway at IoT World. It's pretty awesome.
I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I look forward to that very
Yeah, I've got the
much.
advantage of seeing our early progress. It's super cool.
That's great.
And for me, it's validating.
Yes.
Right? It's really validating
It is.
to see these things that you can imagine could be done. Our talented people making them happen.